This footage of the victims being evacuated from a Japanese ferry has been broadcast on all the world's TV channels. The ferry with tourists, which was en route from Niigata Port to Garden Island, suddenly received a powerful blow. The ship tilted, and the skin in one of the compartments cracked. People were screaming, grabbing the handrails, thinking that now everything was going to sink. But the strangest thing was told by eyewitnesses. Several people claimed that they saw something huge with orange-red skin in the water before the impact. The creature raced past the ship and disappeared. The radars were silent, and the cameras installed on the ship did not record anything either. And this is the USA, 2025. There, off the coast of California, a diver was attacked by a giant squid. The fearless diver wounded the creature, and it retreated. Why do marine life become so huge? What forces cause their bodies to mutate in the gloomy darkness of the ocean depths? And, most importantly, why are they increasingly preying on humans? Today, you will find out which of the marine life kills at the rate of a firearm shot, and what happens in the depths of the ocean. The sea attracts us and scares us at the same time. Creepy creatures live in its depths, capable of killing a person with a single touch. And it's not just about bloodthirsty sharks or poisonous fish. Some are hard to even notice, but if you accidentally step on them, you can die in terrible agony. So who are they? The most dangerous killers of the ocean depths. Holding this creature in your hand is like playing roulette with death itself. This is how you can describe the video that an Australian posted on the internet. It's a blue-ringed octopus, one of the most poisonous inhabitants of the ocean, and, without exaggeration, of the entire planet. At first glance, it seems almost toy-like, small, bright, decorated with neon blue rings. But behind this beauty lies a toxin that can kill an adult in just a few minutes. There is no antidote. One careless move can end in tragedy. His skin exudes a very strong poison. Its weight barely exceeds 100 grams. The size, along with the tentacles, is 10 centimeters. One drop of its poison is 1,000 times more powerful than a drop of cyanide. Its venom is capable of killing 26 people. This little monster lives in the coastal waters of the Pacific Ocean, from Japan to Australia. You can also meet a poisonous octopus in Sri Lanka, which is very popular with tourists. Queensland is a tropical paradise with palm trees, beaches, and a deadly mystery. Since the end of the 19th century, people have died here after bathing, and suddenly, for no apparent reason, everything changed in 1955 when, after the death of a 5-year-old boy, biologist Hugo Flecker ordered a comb of the beach. Among the animals he caught, he discovered an unknown creature, a jellyfish cube, later nicknamed the Irukandji demon. Why is she a cubic jellyfish? It has the cubic symmetry of a dome. If you look at it from above, it usually represents a quadrangle, as well as the places from where the long tentacles extend. The jellyfish cube is not just a bag of poison, but a very advanced hunter. Unlike ordinary jellyfish, it uses its eyesight. Her eyes can distinguish between the color, shape, and size of objects, almost like a human's. This allows it to accurately target prey, even from a long distance, and then grab the victim with venomous tentacles, thin as threads but deadly. When the tentacles are in a shortened state, they may be small in length, but when she pulls them out in a nimble state, they can reach 3 meters in length. These are the thinnest tentacles containing poison. There are warning signs everywhere on Queensland beaches from October to March, the Cubome Idusa season. These signs are not only frightening, but also warn of danger. But the locals have found a simple solution to protect themselves. They're swimming in women's tights. The Cubomedusa tentacles perceive nylon as an inanimate object and do not release poison. At the moment of contact, you feel some discomfort. Biologists from the Swiss University of Freiburg decided to conduct an experiment in the spirit of academician Pavlov. But instead of dogs, they took jellyfish and placed them in vessels with cloudy water. At first, they constantly crashed into the walls, but soon they began to avoid collisions. But they don't have a brain or a normal nervous system. As scientists have found out, although they are brainless, they are self-learning. Ordinary sea slime with reflexes. The scientific community is stunned. If you think this jellyfish is the scariest thing you can encounter in the water, you're wrong. You haven't come across a Portuguese man of war yet. No, this is not a ship, but a real sea trap with tentacles. It is this dangerous creature that tourists are increasingly encountering. They are not very large, 10 to 20 centimeters, resembling beautiful mother-of-pearl shells, bubbles with a folded edge, and their paint, is pinkish bluish crimson. They are empty inside. They float on the surface. If, after meeting the Portuguese ship, it seemed to you that it couldn't get any worse, wait until you step on a sea urchin. If, after meeting the Portuguese ship, it seemed to you that it couldn't get any worse, wait until you step on a sea urchin. On one of the beaches in Greece, 20-year-old British student Callum Holt accidentally stepped on a hedgehog. At first, it was just pain, needles in my leg. It didn't seem to be anything terrible, but after a while, Callum became completely paralyzed. The young man was left disabled for life because of a harmless-looking creature the size of an apple. Deadly danger can also await you in your home aquarium, and you may not even realize it. This is exactly what happened to a resident of the English city of Slough. The man decided to please the child, but in the end, he got something that he did not expect. His child loved cartoons, especially cartoons about Nemo the fish. And this Nemo fish, this amphiprion, a striped fish, was purchased by his father for his son's marine aquarium. After a while, he also bought a shrimp so that the fish would not be sad there. A few months later, he sees a very strange creature at the bottom. That is, such a worm-like guest. The man called several local pet stores with a request to pick up the mysterious creature, but everywhere he received a categorical refusal. At some point, one of the biologists finally explained to the stunned father, there is a so-called geographical cone in his aquarium, one of the most dangerous and poisonous mollusks on the planet. But how did one of the most dangerous snails on the planet end up in an ordinary home aquarium? Most likely, a barely noticeable larva clung to a shrimp or plant, and then quietly grew into a poisonous beauty with a patterned shell right under the host's nose. Another inhabitant of coastal waters is the warthog, the most venomous fish on the planet. Moreover, it lives in very popular tourist destinations, such as Egypt and Thailand. He has 13 forked spikes all over his back, each of which will easily pierce even a wetsuit. The wart is a true champion of disguise. This poisonous fish hides among the corals, merging with the bottom, so that it is easy to mistake it for a stone. Another incredibly beautiful inhabitant of the Red Sea is the lionfish. Many people have probably seen her in Egypt or on TV, but believe me, it's definitely better to stay away from her. The mottled color hides a real toxic bomb. Lionfish venom is more powerful than many dangerous snakes. Many people have probably heard about the famous Japanese delicacy, the poisonous pufferfish. Its deadly poison is found in the skin, liver, and internal organs. Cooks carefully remove these parts, leaving only the muscle mass. Why eat pufferfish? There are many other interesting and delicious fish around. It is not only delicious, it causes a slight euphoric effect. Scientists from the Japanese National University of Fisheries have found out that due to global warming, pufferfish began to mutate. This species began to interbreed with its relatives. What is dangerous about this for humans? If the cook makes a mistake and mistakes the hybrid for the original pufferfish, the probability of death is extremely high. Properly cooked pufferfish are very expensive restaurants, and they are rare. With good chefs, the clandestine spread of this dish in Southeast Asia is usually associated with inexperienced chefs. It is better not to take risks, and there are many other delicious fish. But fugu is dangerous, not only as a poisonous delicacy. This fish can also bite. In Japan, young fishermen accidentally caught a pufferfish, and one of them had a toothy monster clinging to his arm. Another poisonous fish, the moray eel, also likes to bite. She can seriously bite because she has two mouths at once. She has an outer jaw and a pharyngeal jaw. At the moment of hitting the victim, she uses both jaws, both back and front, but then it abruptly retracts the pharyngeal jaw, and pushes the prey inside. If it is a fish of acceptable size, that is, she behaves almost like a snake. She won't rip off your arm, but she will be able to tear off a solid piece of fabric. The double jaw helps the moray eel to grab prey even on land, and not every fish can boast of this. In principle, they are not the most widespread species of the world ocean. Not even the most venomous fish on the planet can match the bloodthirstiness of a great white shark. These predators are real monsters of the deep, capable of tearing a man in half. That's exactly what happened recently on a beach in Australia. A 6-meter shark attacked a 57-year-old surfer and tore him apart in the water in a few seconds. Recently, sharks have been suspiciously often spotted at resorts in Turkey and Egypt. In September 2025, several beaches of 5-star hotels in Hurghada even had to be temporarily closed. The predators swam so close to the shore. Recently, an Australian resident found a strange and mysterious fish washed up on the shore, similar to a deadly pufferfish. Only her tiny fins looked like human palms. It turned out that this creepy creature was considered extinct several decades ago. Maybe we don't know anything at all about the inhabitants of the depths. What kind of deadly creatures inhabited our planet thousands of years ago? The sharks were much bigger and much more bloodthirsty. What is the megalodon alone worth, whose dimensions exceeded 15 meters? The helicoprion is called the main monster of the Permian period. The length of this fish exceeded 10 meters. The sight of her jaw alone would make even the bravest adventurers' hearts sink. The teeth are arranged in a spiral and resemble a circular saw. It is not known for certain how this saw worked, and since sharks are cartilaginous fish, mostly found the remains of this particular disc, let's say, like a circular saw. Perhaps they sawed through the shells of mollusks. Perhaps the sharks used the jaw in this way when attacking the victim. Jellyfish are one of the oldest creatures on our planet. According to the most conservative estimates, they have been living for more than 500 million years and have managed to survive 5 mass extinctions on Earth. Scientists have been wondering for centuries what their secret is, because jellyfish don't have a brain. How, then, do these creatures navigate an environment that is rife with dangers? This is the so-called diffuse nervous system, when nerve cells with approximately the same concentration are scattered throughout the mucous body of the jellyfish. However, there are certain areas where there are more of them. Serious passions are boiling under the surface of the water. Piskies are real soldiers, capable of strategic battles and clever tactics. But pisces, as noble warriors, has principles. In a certain area, their confrontation stops. There are places where fish of different species gather, because there are cleaners, fish doctors who clean other fish, and that's where they don't fight. For many years, scientists have assumed that the bloodiest underwater battles took place mainly between sea lizards. The stakes were too high. The reptiles have grown to gigantic sizes. Appetites grew, but it seemed there wasn't enough room for everyone. But a recent study by biologists from the University of Bristol has turned the scientific community's view of the distant past of underwater monsters upside down. A complete map of Mesozoic marine systems has appeared. These lizards, it turns out, peacefully coexisted with each other, rarely engaging in deadly battles over territories.